Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Daffy Duck here once again, and I'm Chip here, we're back from the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to more Let's Play of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for the Nintendo Wii. So previously, we did actually claim the trophy in Jupiter Circuit, and today for this episode, we're going to be headed off to the next circuit, which was Saturn Circuit. And this circuit contains signals, which is basically table tennis, 4x100 meter freestyle, which is swimming again, and individual Ali, which means it's fencing. So a bit different from the other circuits we actually been into. I believe between those events we're about to be headed to, this was actually based off of 4 players as opposed to 8. So last time we did play as Tails, so let's play as Luigi. So with that, we would just want to be like, well, even then though, that not too while ago, or in this case 3 years ago, that Luigi was actually 30 years old at this point. But even then though, right now I think Luigi was roughly 33 years old now. So yeah, that's as far as we can actually just go ahead and pick Luigi for this circuit. So here we are, the first event of this circuit is table tennis, in this case signals. Think of Wii Sports tennis, but except on table tennis, as well as the Wii Sports Results table tennis as well. But the noticeable thing here is that the character moves automatically at all times. But here's the thing though, you're gonna have to be really accurate with your Wii Remote swinging technique, so that if you time your shots just well enough, then you should able to actually get your ping pong get onto the other side. So oh, we have some little bit of a duo competitors here. Like, for instance, we're gonna be doing a little tournament or something like that. So we're here at the first match, which we're about to be compete against Shadow, the ultimate life form that he's been imprisoned from the prison island. Well, at least when Dr. Eggman actually released him from this little prison cage from, although not the prison cage, but inside this little, the top secret weapon in, Prison Island in Sonic Adventure 2. By using the Chaos symbol to actually put inside the console, if you kind of think about it, if you've been following for Sonic Adventure 2 storylines, so, yeah. So basically in this event, we're gonna have to actually win 11 points. Whoever gets up to 11 points will actually claim the winning game of any sort of kind. So you do only have like one game to win though, and then the ultimate key here is to actually get 11 points in order to actually proceed to the next match. So yeah, the key factor is here is all about timing requirements, because if you swing too early, you'll actually let the other opponent actually get a point. But yeah, you don't want to get outs or anything, because if you do get outs, the opponent gets the points instead of you. So yeah, this event right here is almost very similar to tennis, but in table formation. So as well as the ball color is actually a bit different, it's white as opposed to green. So yeah, as far as we could consider this already. So yeah. So I believe that as far as when the actual I don't know what to think of, but as far as when we're actually gonna discuss about certain things, that Finding Dory, as far as the next film of the Pixar department, even though it did release already in North America, and surprisingly enough, it actually receives very, very well when it comes to reviews and all that. Yeah, which I'm really surprised about that, because even then, Finding Nemo was actually a huge success back in 2003. But then I was really proud of myself to actually announce this sequel is about to come, which is Finding Dory. But hey, they say it might actually release sometime during the next month or so that it won't be that very long now. Yeah, same goes to the likes of the new Ice Age film, which was the Ice Age Collusion Course. Yeah, which a lot of people seem to get tired of the Ice Age series for the most part, just because even then that was actually the 5th installment of the series right now. But even then that much like how it does it on this really crappy Alvin and Chipmunks film series, that is usually roughly 4 of them, which was about enough. And oh boy, if they're trying to actually release the 5th installment of that crappy series, then we're pretty much gonna be rage quit for that little apartment right there. But yeah, as you can see, Shadow just actually got himself an out, so this means that you can't let the white ping pong ball go over the white line, so you just have to keep an eye on that. And we actually did win the first round. And here we are to the finals, which we're about to be fighting against, or in this case, compete against Luigi's rival Waluigi, which is completely opposite to Luigi, but bendy and skinny legs. Yeah, it completely makes it obvious sense, because even then though, that Mario was opposite of Wario because of the M to W placement, just like how it does it, how the Super Mario Land 2 6 golden coins actually handles out. But even then, the final level in Super Mario Land 2 was by far the most hardest level in any Mario game by far. At least the 2D Mario games, as far as we can notice. So yeah, table tennis is actually really fun to play through, but you're gonna have to keep an eye out with your timing, with your Wii remote adjustment, just because you just don't want to let your ping pong ball just go ahead and just drop down instantly, especially if you're trying to start up. In fact, speaking of starting up, in order to actually get this thing started up as far as surfing it, is that you have to wait until when the Wii remote actually tells you to actually the movement of the Wii remote you have to deal with. So that's how that makes it works. I actually quite enjoyed the table tennis in real life though. Ah, dang it, we're going now. Truth be told, there's also another emblem that you can get, is the perfect table tennis. Well, basically in order to do that, is that you don't want to actually let the opponent get a point before you actually reach up to the highest amount of points, which is 11 points, which is the only maximum. Because basically what you have to do is just get 11 points and then let the CPU don't get any points. So, yeah, that's how that works basically. There's also another emblem which you can get from the shooting event, which was basically we're gonna have to get every single targets in each station, which that is by far the hardest emblem I can ever seem to get, just because the targets move so fast. And also you have to be really accurate with your heart little point blank range right there, so that if you time your B button correctly on that shooting event, you basically get yourselves a cursor bigger, so yeah, that's how that works basically. Ah, dang it. So anyway though, apart from that though, that this game is actually runs at 60 frames per second at pretty much at all times. It doesn't drop frames, which I'm quite surprised about that actually. But until in Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games on the Vancouver 2010, as well as the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, that it gets like 30 frames per second every time when we get to the events and stuff like that. And then in London 2012 Olympic Games and Rio 2016 Olympic Games recently, that sometimes though you might actually come across into 30 frames per second and sometimes 60 frames per second. I think it's mostly due to the single players actually runs very well. So anyway though, and this actually concludes the table tennis. So sometimes the event itself can get a bit longer, but I digress though. Now we move on to the next event. Is 4x100 meter freestyle, where basically it's very similar to how it does it for 100 meter freestyle, but except your noticeable difference is team based. So every time when you come across into a different swimmer, then you can flick the Wiimote upwards so that you can get yourself some extra speed. So yeah, basically, yeah, you know, this was based off of the 4 players circuit, so it's not like 8 players or anything. So for our team, Team Luigi, we got ourselves Vector, Yoshi, and Tails. So I guess we're going to be using Tails for a second time in swimming. And Luigi's swimming technique is crawl. So, because again, if depending on what characters you'll be using, that sometimes they get us a different swimming abilities. In this case, swimming techniques. So yeah, as you can see right there on this footage right now, that Sonic is actually running or swimming quite differently because, you know, he has his life jacket so that he can't swim underwater, or in this case he can't breathe underwater, so that he can actually perform himself a pretty weird swimming technique which was called the underwater running, so that's why he swims like this. But as for the other characters, he doesn't have the life jacket, so Sonic is the only one has it. Because back in Sonic 1, that in the Labyrinth Zone, that Sonic usually doesn't like being in water at all times. At least unlike Mario, that he's the only one survives underwater. But the only time that Mario dies in underwater is the enemies themselves, like Cheep Cheeps, Bombless Pits, or Cheep Chomps and everything. So yeah, that's how you usually just get set up, how different Mario and Sonic are. So the only time you can get a world record, in this case the Olympic world record, is the fact that, as you can see, SPO is actually constantly running forward. Basically, in order to get the Olympic, or in this case the new world record for that matter, that we have to go across the red line. So just in case that it'll actually keep a track of what the world record time is. So as you can see, we actually beat ourselves a world record time. So yeah, we actually beat it over about 8 seconds flat.
Oh yeah, I'm a winner.
Yeah, so you're right, Luigi.
New world record.
It looks like every single 16 characters has already been selected. But again, it's mostly because how it's mostly in team based. So yeah, that's actually a lot of fun. Even a lot funner with, especially with like 4 players cooperated. So now we're going to be heading off to the last event on this circuit, is Artificial Ali, which is essentially fencing. So you can essentially going to use this for either the Wiimote and Nunchuck, or just the Wiimote on its own. Basically, in this entire event here is by basically getting up to 15 points to win. Basically, in order to do this, is by constantly using this little artificial Ali or fencing sword at the opponent, and every time when you're trying to hit it, it counts as a point. However, if you're trying to hold down B button and swing the Wii remote upward, you could do like a parry thing, because if you especially noticeable if you're actually trying to don't want to let your opponents get you don't want to let your opponents hit you, because if you time it well enough, then you can basically guarantee that you can actually block the sword attacks like that. So yeah, that's how that usually just works out like this. So there's also another emblem you can actually grab and in this case obtain from this event, is by basically very similar to how it does in table tennis. But except rather than just getting all the way up to 11 points, instead you're gonna have to go all the way up to 15 points as opposed to 11, without any of these opponents get any points. So this one is a bit tougher, because sometimes the opponents can actually sometimes randomize their if it's depending on if it's like a straight thrust, or even then the parry for that matter, just because it's all about randomized memorization with those types of attacks. So yeah, so basically that it's not that bad of an event. I highly recommend you do with the Wiimote and Nunchuck combination, because with the D-pad it might actually give your thumb ache a bit, but you should definitely recommend using the Nunchuck, just because the analog controls makes it so much smoother to use. So no, we're about to be compete against Shadow once again, but this time it's fencing as opposed to table tennis. So that's actually pretty cool to actually just refight against or rematch against with Shadow, but in different event. So that's actually pretty kind of cool for that little retrospect. So yeah. Now, as far as when I haven't mentioned this to you, is that between the Wii version and the DS version, or if you want to call it as a preferred method, that the console versions of the console versions and the handheld versions on every single franchise, that these between those two consoles, between the console which right now, that so far the Wii counterpart actually has 3, and then DS only has 2. And then the 3DS actually has like 2, and then for the Wii U right now actually has 2 as well. So it's a bit equal in terms of how it looks. But I think the Wii installments of the Mario and Sonic the Olympic Games series has the most majority of titles right now. But anyway though, that's the end of Saturn Circuit. Waluigi, he's in 3rd place. Shadow, he's in 2nd place. And Luigi, he claims himself a Saturn trophy, and he's number 1, which truth be told, that he is. Even then though, he only has like few of those games like Luigi's Mansion or Luigi's Mansion 2. So anyway though, including New Super Luigi U, don't forget. Okay, after when you finish those 4 circuits, you get unlock yourselves a new circuit, which is Moonlight Circuit. In addition to that, we actually have some new events we can come across, like like the rolling event, which is single squirrels, 4 times 100 meter relay, and of course the first dream event in the game, Dream Race. But we'll explain more into that later. So next time on Let's Play Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is that we're about to be doing the final circuit in beginner's class, Moonlight Circuit. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.